My favorite tweet of last week was a picture of Trump sitting like a giant ginger boar at his Oval desk with the other reality TV star Kim Kardashian standing prettily beside him. The comedy caption read, "You are Melania now because, as we all know, the real Melania Trump hasn't been seen in public now for over 3 weeks." Mrs. Flotus was last spotted back in May heading to hospital for a kidney procedure which many, more cynical than I, have interpreted as a facelift. Okay, I have no idea about the state of her kidneys, but her face certainly doesn't need lifting. The woman's cheekbones can be seen from space, and she has a jawline sharp enough to slice her husband's spammy buttocks so thinly that they could fill 1,000 school lunch boxes with presidential Polony. So where is she, and what's she up to? Because, despite reassuring tweets from both the president and Melania herself, allegedly claiming she is taking things easy at the White House, there have been no sightings of the woman, not even from a blurry distance, waving from a bedroom window and giving a thumbs-up sign in her dressing gown. In fact, there is something of the Agatha Christie novel about the mystery of the missing First Lady, and in the absence of Miss Marple, I've been giving the case some thought. For starters, she could be hiding under the bed, eating snacks which are slid in on a tray by a loyal aide, rice crackers, mostly, and little cartons of coconut water and hot dogs and crisps when she gets really peckish. There she lies, just biding her time and waiting until Donald is really off guard, when she will jump out and give him the shock of his life, leading to a fatal coronary and early widowhood. Listen, it's just an idea. First ladies have been under public scrutiny for years, and it's no wonder some of them find the pressure too much and crack up. It's well documented that Betty Ford owned up to alcohol and substance abuse during her husband's presidency, and in doing so was hugely instrumental in raising dependency awareness. The Betty Ford Rehabilitation Clinic for addicts opened in Rancho Mirage, California back in 1982 precisely because of this consciousness raising. Now, I'm not suggesting that Melania has had a massive wobbly, but personally I wouldn't blame her if she hadn't combed her hair for a month and was sitting in a pair of the old man's Y-fronts swigging Special Brew. First ladies are renowned for many things. Jackie Kennedy had the best wardrobe and at 31 was the youngest first lady to move in and totally revamp the White House. Eleanor Roosevelt, at 5'11", tied with Michelle Obama as the tallest first lady, and Michelle, of course, had the best arms. Trivia aside, many first ladies have achieved extraordinary humanitarian work on top of behaving graciously at all times and not turning up at important dose with laddered tights. However, throughout history there have been incidents of odd and slightly antisocial Flotus behavior, including accusations of pipe smoking, lesbian affairs and sheer bloody-mindedness. Donald Trump's least presidential moments so far. 20 show all Donald Trump's least presidential moments so far. 1/20 firing a Secretary of State over Twitter. The president announced on Twitter that he was appointing Mike Pompeo as Secretary of State, much to the surprise of then Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. 2/20 quoting a catchphrase from a reality TV show when discussing police brutality. While addressing the issue of black athletes not standing for the national anthem in protest of police brutality, the president made reference to his catchphrase from reality TV show The Apprentice. Reuters. 3/20 calling African nations "s-hole countries ever won for diplomacy." The president reportedly referred to African nations as "s-hole countries." Asked to confirm this when meeting with Nigeria's President Buhari, Mr. Trump stated that there are some countries that are in very bad shape. Reuters. 4/20 defending Russian President Vladimir Putin. Donald Trump appeared to equate U.S. foreign actions to those of Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying, "There are a lot of killers." You think our country's so innocent? Reuters' Carlos Beria 5/20 asked for people to pray for Arnold Schwarzenegger at the National Prayer Breakfast. Donald Trump couldn't help but to ask for prayers for the ratings on Arnold Schwarzenegger's show to be good. Schwarzenegger took over as host of The Apprentice, which buoyed Mr. Trump's celebrity status years ago. AFP Getty Images 6/20 hanging up on Australian PM Malcolm Turnbull early in his presidency. Donald Trump reportedly hung up the phone on Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull after the foreign leader angered him over refugee plans. Mr. Trump later said that it was the worst call he had had so far. Brendan Smilowski AFP Getty Images 7/20 The Muslim ban perhaps one of his most controversial policies. While acting as president, Donald Trump's travel ban targeting predominantly Muslim countries has brought him a lot of criticism. The bans were immediately protested, and judges initially blocked their implementation. The Supreme Court later sided with the administration's argument that the ban was developed out of concern for U.S. security. Brian R. Smith Getty 8/20 praising crowd size while touring Hurricane Harvey damage after Hurricane Harvey ravaged southeastern Texas. Donald Trump paid the area a visit. While his response to the disaster in Houston was generally applauded, the president picked up some flack. When he gave a speech outside Houston, he reportedly did not visit disaster zones and praised the size of the crowds there. AP 9/20 called North Korean leader Kim Jong-un Little Rocket Man during his first ever speech to the United Nations General Assembly. Donald Trump tried out a new nickname for North Korea leader Kim Jong-un, Rocket Man. He later tweaked it to be Little Rocket Man as the two feuded and threatened each other with nuclear war. During that speech, he also threatened to totally annihilate North Korea. 1020 attacking Sadiq Khan following London Bridge terror attack. After the attack on the London Bridge, Donald Trump lashed out at London Mayor Sadiq Khan, criticizing Mr. Khan for saying there was no reason to be alarmed after the attack. Mr. Trump was taking the comments out of context, as Mr. Khan was simply saying that the police had everything under control. Getty Images 11/20 claimed presenter Mika Brzezinski was bleeding from the face. Never one not to mock his enemies. Donald Trump mocked MSNBC's Morning Joe co-host Mika Brzezinski, saying that she and co-host Joe Scarborough had approached him before his inauguration asking to join him. He noted that she was bleeding badly from a facelift at the time and that he said no. 12/20 claiming the blame for Charlottesville was on both sides. Trump refused to condemn far-right extremists involved in violence at the March for the Right protests in Charlottesville, even after the murder of counter-protester Heather Heyer. AP photo Pablo Martinez Monsiváis 13/20 retweeted cartoon of CNN being hit by a Trump train. Donald Trump retweeted a cartoon showing a Trump-branded train running over a person whose body and head were replaced by a CNN avatar. He later deleted the retweet. 1420 tweeting about slamming CNN. Donald Trump caught some flack when he tweeted a video showing him wrestling down an individual whose head had been replaced by a CNN avatar. Mr. Trump has singled CNN out in particular with his chance of fake news. 1520 firing head of the FBI, James Comey. Donald Trump's firing of former FBI Director James Comey landed him with a federal investigation into Russia's meddling in the 2016 election that has caused many a headache for the White House. The White House initially said that the decision was made after consultation from the Justice Department. Then Mr. Trump himself said that he had decided to fire him, in part because he wanted the Russia investigation Mr. Comey was conducting to stop. Getty Images 16/20 not realizing being president would be hard. Just 3 months into his presidency, Donald Trump admitted that being president is harder than he thought it would be. Though Mr. Trump insisted on the 2016 campaign trail that doing the job would be easy for him, he admitted in an interview that living in the White House is harder than running a business empire. Reuters 17/20 accusing Obama of wiretapping him. Donald Trump accused former President Barack Obama of wiretapping him on Twitter. The Justice Department later clarified Mr. Obama had not, in fact, done so. Reuters 18/20 claiming there had been 3 million illegal votes. Donald Trump was never very happy about losing the popular vote to Hillary Clinton by 2.8 million ballots.So. He and White House Voter Fraud Commissioner Chris Kovach have claimed that anywhere between 3 and 5 million people voted illegally during the 2016 election. Conveniently, he says that all of those illegal votes went to Ms. Clinton. There is no evidence to support that level of widespread voter fraud. 1920s leaving Jews out of the Holocaust memorial statement. Just days after taking office, Donald Trump's White House issued a statement on International Holocaust Remembrance Day, but didn't mention Jews or even the word Jewish in the written statement. Getty Images 2020's anger over inauguration crowd size. Donald Trump's inauguration crowd was visibly and noticeably smaller than that of his predecessor, Barack Obama. But he really wanted to have had the largest crowd on record.So. He praised it as the biggest crowd ever. Relatedly, Mr. Trump also claimed that it stopped raining in Washington at the moment he was inaugurated. It didn't. The day was very dreary. Reuters some women just aren't cut out for the job. For example, poor melancholic Jane Means Appleton Pierce, wife of the 14th President Franklin Pierce, 1853-57, who, in mourning for her 3 dead sons, all of whom died either in infancy or childhood, wore black constantly and barely left her White House bedroom. Here Jane spent most of her time writing letters to her adored late son Benny, who was killed aged 11 before his mother's eyes in a tragic rail accident. Then there was Mary Todd Lincoln, wife of the one who got shot at the theater, whose erratic behavior, wild spending sprees and vicious temper tantrums earned her the nickname the Hellcat of the White House. Poor Mary, eventually committed to an asylum by her only surviving son, was probably suffering from pernicious anemia, a disease due to a simple vitamin B12 deficiency that is easily treated and has almost been eradicated today. But back to Melania. I hope she's run away, because in a story that is already unreal, I cannot see anything being more unbelievable than what has already happened. In my head, she has scarpered off to join the circus, because when I close my eyes I can just see Melania doing acrobatics on the back of a white pony. I can easily imagine her flying through the air on a trapeze, her tiny wrists being caught by the strong, slightly hairy hand of a man wearing bulging white trousers and not much else. Fly, Melania, fly. Of course, back in real life, when Agatha Christie herself went missing, she was eventually found in Harrogate. Maybe that's where Melania will eventually pitch up, happily enrolled on one of Betty's tea shop baking courses, folding soft warm dough into her mouth and not caring if the buttons are popping off her pantsuit. All conjecture aside, wherever she is and whatever she's doing, I hope she's doing okay.